Hello and welcome back. This is Sushyata Sengupta Roy from Swami Vivekananda Institute of Modern Science, Department of Media Science. Well, on the previous tutorial, I have discussed about freedom of speech. And now we are going to discuss a different topic, which is contempt of court. So when we talk about a court session, so there is a dignity and decorum to be maintained. Now, as we say in the words of law, that the justice is the Lord. So, at the time of a court procedure, it is said that when a justice is on the process, a basic decorum has to be maintained. So that if somebody goes against the decorum of the court or against the scene, the ambience of the court, that will be taken as a contempt of court. So we are going to discuss further with the enactment or the act related to contempt of court. Now, as the definition goes, what is contempt of court? Contempt of court may be said to be constituted into disrespect or disregard. Two words, disrespect or disregard. You cannot disrespect the Lord or the it's said to be a temple of justice, the courtroom, or to interfere with or prejudice parties, litigations, or their witness during the litigation. So, Lord Hardwicke in 1742 made a threefold classification of contempt. So, what is contempt? What will you term as a contempt and what not? So, one, scandalizing the court during the proceeding. Anyways, the one cannot scandalize the court, cannot talk anything against the court. B, abusing the parties who are concerned in the case in the presence of the court. So, in the presence of the court, one cannot defame others, the other party maybe. Even if you don't like the person, you have to keep quiet. The third part is prejudicing the public against person before the case is heard. So, you cannot prejudge. It is not a presumption based. It is absolutely law. So, it is based on witnesses and evidences. So, there's nothing which your mind says, and there cannot be a presumption at any point of law. It has to justice is based on evidences and witnesses. Now, what is the history of this contempt of court in India? So, contempt of court of records was introduced in India by the British government. So, following establishment of the court of records in the 19th century. So, it was put on a firm basis in India by the Contempt of Court Act in 1926. So, the Contempt of Court Act is of 1926. So, it's much before independence. So, was felt on the account of the differences of opinion between the Madras and the Bombay High Court. And on the other hand, it is the Calcutta High Court. So, regarding the protection of subordinate courts, so the Act did not contain any provision with regard to contempt of court or subordinate courts. It was like the other than the High Courts. So, that is the court subordinate to Chief Court and the Judicial Commissioners. So, the Act also did not deal with the extraterritorial jurisdiction of the High Court in matters of contempt. So, the Contempt of Court Act of 1926 was found inadequate, like adequate as such. The Contempt of Court 1952 was enacted. So, basically in 1956 there were a lot of things which were not added up, like that there are such sort of things which so many court cases which are sub judice, gets into smaller courts. So, that was basically not counted under this act. So, another says post independence, the Contempt of Court Act was again enacted, or it was basically amended and made into the Contempt of Court of 1952. So, from the statement of objects and reasons which led to the enactment of the Contempt of Court Act of 1952, it is obvious that this law was made as there was no specific provision of law which enabled the High Court to exercise this power in respect of the contempt committed beyond its territorial jurisdiction. So, let's understand what is contempt of court under the American legal system. So, is it the act of disobedience or disrespect towards the judicial branch of the government, or an interference which is with its orderly process. So it is an offense against the court of justice or a person to whom the judicial functions of the sovereignty have been delegated. So the American jurisprudence defines contempt of court as following. What are the points? There are basically 5 points. 1. Despising the authority of the judge or dignity of the court is contempt of court. 2. Any conduct which tends to bring the authority and administration of law into disrespect or disregard is contempt of court. 3. Any conduct which interferes or prejudices the parties to a litigation or their witnesses during litigation is contempt of court. 4. Any conduct which otherwise tends to impede, embarrass, or obstruct a court or a judge in the discharge of his duties is contempt of court. And 5. A statute may define contempt, but it can never be exhaustive. Cannot be. It has to have its cause and cons. So that is what, according to the leverage is contempt of court, according to the American legal system. Now we'll go further with the power to punish. Now, if there is a contempt, suppose there is a contempt of court, well, what will be the punishment for it? Now, Supreme Court is declared a court of record under Article 129. So, as a court of records, it has all its powers of such a court, including the power to punish for its contempt. So, under Article 129 and 142 of the Constitution of the Supreme Court has been vested with the power to punish for the contempt of court, including the power to punish for contempt of itself. So, in case the contempt other than the contempt referred to in Rule 2, Part 1 of the rules to regulate proceedings of the contempt of the Supreme Court of 1975. So, the court may take action, either it will be suo motu or on a petition made by Attorney General or Solicitor General, or on the petition made by any person in the case of a criminal contempt with the consent in writing of the Attorney General or the Solicitor General. So that is like when there is a contempt of court, there can be punishment by the Supreme Court on these cases. But then complaint by the Attorney General is important part that has to be kept in mind about as far the contempt of court is concerned. Now, what was the first case of contempt of court in India? Now, that's really interesting. So, in this case, in 1954, just after independence, the members of the Executive Committee of the District Bar Association at Muzaffarnagar within the state of Uttar Pradesh made certain allegation against a judicial office, Mr. Kanhaiya Lal Mehra, and a revenue officer, Mr. Lalla Prasad. Okay, now a resolution was passed in the meeting of the Bar Association that complaints should be filed on the superior authorities against the misconduct of these judges. So the judicial officer does not record evidence in case tried before him properly, so that in all the criminal matters that are transferred to the court where the accused are already in bail does not give them time to furnish fresh sureties, with the result he is sent to jail. He is not accommodating a lawyer as a whole. So the revenue officer follows the highly illegal procedure of leaving two cases at the time. So wherein records and evidences of one case and ask the court clerk to do so with the other. Now also he is highly temperamental and constantly threatens the lawyer within the contempt of the court, within the jurisdiction of the contempt of the court. So it is now our considered opinion that the two officers are thoroughly incompetent in law, so not inspire confidence in their judicial work. So they state wrong facts when passing judgments and are overbearing, the discourteous to the litigant public and the lawyer alike. So the High Court found the lawyer to be prima facie in contempt of court and fined them with rupees 300 at the year, and think about the year, it is 1954, and 300 rupees in at that time at 1954 is a good amount. It's not that small as 300 of today. So how many types of contempt of court can we find? So judgments of the court with only knowledge of the order or judgment, not intent to interfere being needed. And the other one is civil contempt. So basic contempt of the court is of two types. One is criminal contempt, another one is civil contempt. So criminal contempt is when judgment of the court with one knowledge or the other the judgment, not intent to interfere being needed. Now civil contempt requires only a preponderance when a case is preponed on the evidence, while criminal contempt requires proof. So when a contempt can be criminal or civil. Criminal contempt involves any intentional interference with the administration of justice, while civil contempt is disobedience to order or beyond reasonable doubts. So, another significant distinction arises from whether the contempt occurs in the face of the court or outside it. But contempt beyond the courtroom must harder to prove. It is very hard, because if it is when there's a contempt or somebody has allegated or they have disregarded the court and you find it on the courtroom, things can be taken care of and things can be easy to prove. But when the same contempt is being done outside the court, it's really impossible to prove. So now let's discuss what civil contempt is. Civil contempt of court. So section 2 subsection B of the Contempt of the Court Act of 1971, the essential ingredient is willful disobedience, and not any and every disobedience due to the various reasons, such as delay due to unavoidable circumstances or inadvertence in it, has to be proved that disobedience was willful. So, a civil contempt involves disobedience of the court order affecting the right of other parties to that order, basically denying the rightful fruits of the suit of the other party. So, that gets into the civil contempt. Now, Muhammad Ikram Hussain versus State of UP. This is a perfect example. Now, the court asked the appellant to produce his daughter in the matter of habeas corpus. So he made false excuse and did not produce her. He was found guilty of contempt. Now, Union of India versus Oswal Woolen Mills. Another example. The court held that when, as a result of an order of the High Court in a writ petition, an application for license was to be disposed of by the statutory authority, no contempt can be said to be committed merely because there is a failure to dispose of the petition. So, any order of the court should give sufficient time for the compliance before contempt proceeding can be initiated. So, this gives a this is a subclause of the contempt of court. So, everything cannot be taken as contempt of. If any disregard or any if there's a petition and ample time has to be given to abide by the court, to abide by the forces of the court or abide by the decision of the court before we get into the contempt part. Now we'll get into criminal contempt of court. So section 2 subsection C of the Contempt of the Court Act of 1971, it is seen that scandalizing or prejudicing a judge or interfering with the administration of justice is contempt. So even tending to scandalize or tending to prejudice or tending to interfere or obstruct is enough to evoke action in criminal contempt. But again, in this regard, if the contempt is being done outside the court, it is really tough to prove. To prove the contempt, criminal part will be very tough. Now let's see a small example of it, a case study. So state of Andhra Pradesh versus Prakash Rao. A threat held out to a judge with a view to obtain favorable order would amount to criminal contempt as interference with the administration of justice. The threat need to be a threat to the judge himself personally. Now, a threat given to any other person will not be contempt of court, as of if you are trying to misrepresent this justice or interfere in the work of justice. So I think contempt of court was very easy. So I'll be back again with another tutorial, obviously some part of law. Thank you.